Hey, good morning, everybody, and welcome to Invisible Condition. It's not all in your head. I'm your host, Jeff Pearson, and we want everybody with an invisible condition to know beyond the shadow of a doubt that you do have a voice, you have a community, and you are never, ever alone. Now, here on Invisible Condition, we know that life can be interesting, tough sometimes, even would say tough with an invisible condition, right? It's especially when they're invisible. That makes it sometimes even tougher. Okay, I get it, man. I'm 7 brain surgeries in on my condition that I was born with, but it's invisible. You would never know. So I understand. And what I want to make sure you all know is, yes, things can be tough, but there's always hope. There's always hope. So if you are struggling and you are having trouble with that concept of hope, I would love to talk to you. So I'm going to put an email address up here in a second. And if you're having trouble, shoot me an email. I'd love to talk to you and show you where I find hope and where you can too. And it's just, hope is important, and you gotta have it. And so also I want to talk to you real quick about our nonprofit, which is actually called Hydro with Hope. So that is an organization that we kind of pair with the show, and it's an organization that helps people with the condition that I was born with, which is called hydrocephalus. Hydro's easier, so we just called it Hydro with Hope. So hydrocephalus is a very, very common, ridiculously common condition that affects hundreds of thousands of families every single year, and results in brain surgery almost every time. And I have had 7 brain surgeries so far, and 4 of those have been in the last 12 years. It's been a really wild ride around here. And there's families that have had multiple more than I have. And so it just depends on who you are, and it's very individual. So either way, it can be a little tough to navigate. And so if you are, if you're struggling with that, go to hydrowithhope.com. We have an amazing journal that you can get a hold of here. Actually, you know what? I have a copy of it right here. Look at that. I have a copy right here. There's our journal right there. My Hydro Warrior Story. So if you need one of those, it can kind of help you walk through that process of, holy crap, we got to have brain surgery again, and get you through it. So anyway, all that to say, if you'd like to donate, here is the link to do that. It is a brand new year. Why not start off the year right and donate to an amazing cause? So here is the, where is it? Is it this one? I think it's this one. Oh, nope, I got to take that down. Welcome to live TV, everybody. Hydro with Hope, there it is. If you would like to make a donation, there's where you can do it. Thank you in advance. We appreciate you doing that and partnering with us in that way. And also, if you would like to advertise with the show, we would love to talk to you about that too, to get your message to our amazing audience. We got some great advertisers right now, and I'm always open to talking to more that want to get the message out. So if you're in that boat, then email me here at this address right here, invisiblecondition@e360tv.com. All right, that is enough of that. Let's get this show on the road. I have an amazing guest with me today. Her name is Angie Dixon. And by the way, I forgive me if I didn't say this before, but Happy New Year. I hope you had an amazing Christmas. And we are 1 or 2 days. I think it's January 2nd today. We're a couple days into the new year. Welcome to 2026, everybody. I hope it's an amazing year for you. I am looking forward to it for us. It's shaping up to be a pretty awesome year already. So Happy New Year. Now, Angie Dixon is our guest today. She's an author, an artist, and a profoundly creative mind who has spent decades challenging the idea that brilliance has to fit into a neat little box, which is nonsense. Doesn't have to fit into a box. It's better if it doesn't, I think. Angie is the creator of the Leonardo Trait, a concept that she coined to describe multipassionate, neurodivergent thinkers whose minds refuse to behave in linear ways. Man, that described, I feel like that's me. Anybody else? I feel like that describes me pretty good. And it describes her too. After a late in life autism diagnosis, Angie finally found language for struggles that she'd been carrying quietly for years and years and years. And isn't that the way it is sometimes? You know, you get that diagnosis and you're like, oh my God, that's it. Now I have language to talk about it. And she realized these things that she's been dealing with are not flaws, but clues to her genius. So her newly reimagined fourth edition of her book, The Leonardo Trait, Profound Creativity in a Chaotic World, which we'll put that on the screen here in a minute, so you can see what the cover looks like when you go find it on Amazon. On it, it's an honest invitation to stop trying to fix ourselves and start creating lives that truly fit. So she's here to remind us that some of our most invisible conditions are also some of the source of our greatest strengths. And so it's so cool. She's so cool. I can't wait to get her on the here. Let me grab that, and then we will bring her on and get this show on the road. Angie, thank you so much for being here. Welcome.
Oh, thank you for having me, Jeff. I'm excited.
Absolutely, man. This is good stuff, man. I'm so glad we were able to meet and get this on the books and figure this out. This is cool. And in the book, we were before we started doing the show here, I was like, well, which book is it? Because you've got multiple editions of it out there. So if you see, if everybody that's out there is looking, there's a certain cover you want to look for, and I'll put it up here. This is the book you're looking for right here. There's a couple different covers for past editions. This is the most current edition that is out. So that's what you're looking for right there. And then also this is your website that we will talk about in just a second. And before we get too far, I want to just say, if you're on Facebook or YouTube, thanks for being here. If you're on E360, Apple TV, wherever you are, we appreciate you being here. Facebook and YouTube are very easy to comment on. So if you're hearing Angie's story and want to comment, want to ask a question, whatever, just throw it in the comment section on Facebook or YouTube, and we'll be able to interact that way. So, all right, Angie, we're here, man. I got a question for you that I like to ask everybody on the show, and it is a question that doesn't have no wrong answer. There is no wrong answer. On the days that were really rough during all this diagnosis stuff and all the crazy that comes with a condition, on the hard days, how do you still maintain hope?
Some days it's really hard. Um, I'm fortunate to have an amazing family, an amazing best friend, and I just hold on to the fact that these people love me, and that some days that's just what I have to hold on to is I am loved, and it has always been okay. I had a friend who used to say, "It will be okay," and I was going through a really rough time, and she would say this, and finally I said, "You always say it will be okay." And she said, "Well, hasn't it always been okay every time I've said it would be okay?" And, and she was right. It had eventually been okay.
There you go.
Sometimes it takes a while, but in the end, it will be okay.
That's right. That's exactly right. There was a guest. I'm trying to remember when it was. I think it was in season 3. I think it was there was one in season 1 that said, I've survived 100% of my hard days so far. Right? Like, that's pretty good. And then there was one in season 3. I had a guest named Jason Miller, and he was talking about it, and he said, yesterday was my only hard day. It was like, it's back there. Now we're moving forward, So I love people that think like that, because it's so true, So let's dive in here. For decades, you were of the belief that you were too much or too scattered, or how did that belief shape your relationships? I mean, that had to have been rough, growing up like that.
Oh yeah, I grew up in a really small town, and there wasn't anyone else like me.
Mm.
I was the weird one, and now I like to say different, But,
Yeah.
back then it was weird, and I didn't really have many friends, and
Mhm.
at times I didn't have any friends. And it was very difficult because I knew that I was different. I didn't know why, and I thought that there was something wrong with me. Now, as I grew up and I got away from those people in that town and I
Yeah.
got into college, I met people who appreciated me for who I am. And once I got older, I moved to Arkansas. The people I was meeting, the way they saw me was, this is just how she is.
Yeah.
You know, and they just accepted how I was. And I have great friends. I have been married to my husband for almost 34 years.
What?
Um,
34
he,
years. Okay, I'm sorry, I don't want to interrupt, but there's no way you've been married 34. You don't look old enough to be married 34 years. You didn't tell me
I will
that
be,
when we were talking. 34 years. Well done. Well done. All right.
thank you. And he
That's
is
amazing.
extremely neurotypical, and he just, whatever it is, he just goes along with it. And he's just like, oh, I guess she's writing a book. Oh, I guess she's going to be on TV today.
Sure, why not? That's
And
amazing. Wow. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
and so you know, we've been together, like I said, 34 years. And my best friend and I have been friends since we were 15. And I'm not going to tell you how long that is, but it's longer than 34 years.
I didn't hear a
And,
thing. Yeah.
but getting the autism diagnosis, like you said, it really changed everything. My son was diagnosed as an adult about 8 years ago, and
Mm.
that should have been a clue because we basically share a brain. We are the same person. But I did not pick up on it. I thought, oh, that's interesting that Jack is autistic. And then I did not think, oh, maybe I'm autistic too.
Where
And
did you
then
get that? Yeah.
a
Yep.
couple people asked me, are you autistic? And the first time I said no. And the second time I said, maybe. And then 2 years ago, I decided that I was going to get diagnosed. And it was a little harder to find someone who could diagnose because the
Yeah.
doctor who had diagnosed my son was not diagnosing adults anymore, was
Ah,
not testing adults. And I called the office and I said, is there anybody in Arkansas who still tests adults? And she said, we've got a doctor who might do it. Let me ask him. And
there you
so he
go.
was willing to do it. He normally works with children and he was willing to do it. So we sat in his office with paintings by children and Play-Doh figures and did the testing. And the answer was, yes, I think you are definitely autistic. And I said, oh, thank you. Thank you
Right.
so much.
Right. I'm guessing that was a huge weight off because especially people, I've had other people on the show that had later in life, diagnosed in their 40s, 50s, kind of thing. And man, that's got to be eye opening and almost like the huge sense of relief, right? Am I
Oh,
accurate?
yeah.
Yeah.
It really was a huge sense of relief and a sense of there are other people like me. I mean, my
Yes.
entire life, I've spent 20 years writing the Leonardo Trait, but I was writing it as a book about profoundly creative people.
Yeah.
And so I knew there were Leonardos, there were profoundly creative people. But as far as the specifics of my differences, I did not know that there were other people. And then once I realized that I was autistic, I have autism and ADHD. We call it
Mhm.
ADHD. And
Yeah.
once I realized that, someone recommended a summit called the Lived Experience Summit for autistic people. And I
Okay.
went to that summit, and the host of it had a whole community, a whole Discord server for neurodivergent people. And I thought, oh my God,
Look at
oh, oh wow. And
that.
so now I have this whole community of people, and I've never had people before who were like me. And someone in the group the other day said, I don't seem like I'm lazy or like there's something wrong with me, but I just used the stove for the first time in 6 months. I've been using
Wow.
the toaster oven
Yeah.
and the microwave. And we all said, Oh, yeah, I totally get that. Sometimes the stove is just too much. It just takes too much energy, too much concentration to make sure you don't leave it on. Oven and microwave are so easy to use, and we totally get you. We don't think you're lazy. We don't think there's anything wrong with you.
Sure. Oh, that's so cool. I can relate to some of that, man. I have never been diagnosed with ADHD or autism, but there are some similarities between what I mean, I can relate to some of what you're talking about. I mean, as somebody with the condition that I was born with does affect a lot of people like autism does. And it's, I mean, it's hundreds of thousands of people every year that gets diagnosed. But I had no idea, like you were talking about, you had no idea that there were so many people out there like you that until you started meeting them in your community, right? And I was the same way until we launched our nonprofit, Hydro with Hope. I thought I was an anomaly. I was like, this is like just a thing that I'm living with. But I don't know any. I think in my 48 years on this planet, I had only ever met up to that point maybe two other people that had ever had what I have, and so I was like, what? There's hundreds of thousands of us every year. Like, what is going on? So it's kind of cool though when you figure that out, right? It's like, oh my gosh, I'm not alone. It's
Oh,
beautiful.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's just the most amazing feeling to know that there are other people, and I have a particular friend in this community that I can call her or I can text her and I can say, I'm just having an ADHD day, and I think I'm just gonna take the day off because nothing is happening in my brain. Nothing is working.
Yep.
It's just like I've got a wet sponge wrapped around my brain. I am not accomplishing anything, so I might as well
It's
just
done.
stop.
Yeah. And cut. Yeah, exactly. Oh man, I can relate to that too. Well, I'll tell you what, I love this conversation. I love it where we're going here with this, and I want to continue, but unfortunately, I have run out of coffee, and so I need to go refill my cup, and we're going to go to a commercial while we do that. And and so I will see you in just a minute, Angie. Thank you so much for being here, and I'll see you in just a minute. All right, everybody, listen, I got to go refill this. But I'm going to go refill it with roast order coffee because it's good. So here's the deal. You guys have probably all heard you've been hearing me talk about this if you've been watching the show, and man, I hope you're ordering coffee because it's so good. All right, listen, I have been a coffee nerd my entire life, okay? Like for years, maybe not my entire life, but for years. I love great coffee. If a bag of coffee doesn't have a roast date on it that's within the last couple of weeks, I don't want to buy it. It's too old. It's probably rancid. It's gross. I don't want to drink it. That's why I love Mike with roast to order coffee. He gets it. He understands. He roasts the beans fresh. He ships them to your door, and he's always coming up with new ways of doing coffee, right? So everybody knows you can put it in the Mr. Coffee maker and do it that way. Grind the beans up and put them in there. And okay, right. That's one way to do it. He also does, the pods, or like he listens, basically. He listens to his customers, right? So he's always coming up with new amazing varieties. So if you, over the years, people were like, hey, what about flavored coffee? Okay, let's try. Okay, flavored coffee is a thing now. How about those little K-cup pods that go in like the Keurig machines, right? Okay, great. Those are selling like crazy now too. People love those. So there's coffee in those as well. So whether you're an Ethiopian light roast person, if you're an espresso person, a decaf person, flavored coffee, whatever, he got you covered. Let's start the new year off right. He has e-gift cards that you can order, and you can also order coffee subscriptions. How cool would it be to start off 2026 with a coffee subscription from a company that roasts fresh coffee that tastes amazing? I can't think of another way. So scan that QR code right there, and you will get 20% off your first order. Looking forward to seeing. And then also let me know what you think. Let me know what you think, and let me know where you are, where you ordered it from, and what's your favorite variety is. So, all right, everybody, we'll see you on the other side of these couple commercials. See you soon.
Hey there. You know, every time someone comes into your business or website and uses their card to pay, a percentage of that gets folded back into the system. But it can go to Hydro with Hope instead. If you'd like your business to support us rather than feed back into the system, scan the QR code and we'll show you how to do that while saving your business money.
Hi, I'm Sarah Stockham, and I'm host of Simply Sarah. Join me Thursdays at 3 p.m. Pacific on the Achieve TV network for the best energetic tools to elevate your amazing life right here on E360 TV.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Angie, thank you for being here. This is awesome. Very excited to have you and hear your story, which I hope you all caught that first segment because it's been good, man. We've been talking about some good stuff. And now with your, oh, by the way, if you're depending on where you're watching too, also, I want to throw this up here too. Comment, man. Seriously, if you have a question about something we talked about in the first segment, throw a comment in there. If something sparks your curiosity, ask a question in there. So be awesome to hear from you. So, all right. So when you finally got your diagnosis of autism, you said that there was a lot of usually when people get that diagnosis, it's very relieving, and there's a lot of relief, and there's a lot of dots that get connected, right? What are some of those dots that got like over your childhood, over your life? What were some of those things that you had experienced that you didn't know what to do with until you got that diagnosis?
I've always had a lot of ideas, a lot of projects. I like to say I have 37 tabs open in my brain.
Yep.
Or 37 brains. Sometimes it feels like that too.
Feels like that sometimes, yeah.
And I have always felt like, at least to some degree, even after I started writing the Leonardo Trait, I still sometimes felt like, oh, I have too many things going on. I'm doing too much. I'm swapping between projects too often. I should be finishing more of what I start. Even though I literally wrote the book on how all of that is okay, you don't have to finish what you start. I still had this feeling of like, but I really should be finishing more. I really should be starting less. I really should be doing more of what I think is normal. And then I got the autism diagnosis. And the first thing that happened was I thought, oh, there's a reason why I'm like this. It's
Right.
not that I'm different. There actually is a difference in my brain that can be measured by testing.
Yeah.
And the other thing was that I looked at the Leonardo Trait and I thought, I've been writing the wrong book. This is a
Oh.
book for neurodivergent people. And it's still about profound creativity. It's just also about being a neurodivergent, profoundly creative person.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So for a neurotypical, right? And if these terms sound weird to you, maybe it's because I'm in this environment a lot. Maybe it's because I've had so many guests that have talked about it over the last couple of years. It seems very normal vernacular to me. But if this is new to you, Neurotypical is usually somebody that is not experiencing life with any kind of I don't know, I guess people in the neurotypical world would call it a disorder or a condition or we would call it a superpower sometimes, but they would call it so if you're, ADHD or autism or Asperger's or schizophrenia, bipolar, traumatic brain injuries, those kind of things, like that would be an example of neurodivergent, right? And so for neurotypical people, and I feel like that's a relative term, how would you explain the Leonardo trait to them?
The Leonardo trait, I say that it has several characteristics. We're very curious. We're very intelligent, which not that all neurotypical people aren't intelligent, but
Sure.
neurodivergent creative people often are very intelligent. We're very curious. We're multi-passionate. We have many things we're interested in. We also tend to have a couple of special interests that we could talk your ear off about for hours and hours, and that we always want to talk about. We call them special interests. Neurotypical people kind of call them obsessions, and I'm okay with the term obsession.
That's all right. Yeah, it's all good.
And our brains operate in a completely different way. We are really not capable of settling down and working on one thing at a time. We more work in spirals and circles and come back to things and decide we're not going to do that right now and set it aside. And then almost always we come back to it. Like I said, I've been writing the Leonardo Trait for 20 years. It's
Yeah.
2000. So this is the 4th edition. The last one I wrote, the 3rd edition, I said, I don't have anything else to say about that book. And I really thought I was. And then I discovered that I'm autistic. And I thought, yeah, I have something else to say about that. And I
Mhm.
always have something more to say about it as I learn more and meet more people and hear more stories, that I will have more things to say.
Nice. Well, and you coined that term, the Leonardo trait, a long time ago. Like that was like you've been talking about that for a while, right? Before any of this diagnosis stuff.
Oh yeah, 18 years before diagnosis. I just
Yeah,
thought that it applied to just profoundly creative people, but I didn't know that there was any kind of a diagnosis for me
sure.
involved in that.
Nice. Well, and sometimes so when people I know I don't know about maybe autism or it depends on the diagnosis, I guess, but I've heard people say, oh, I got the diagnosis and so I thought, well, let me fix it, right? Let me see if I can get out of this, see if I can fix myself to the point that I'm no longer ADHD or I'm no longer, whatever. You don't like what is that? Well, I don't even know what I'm asking. Like, is that a thing? Is that typical with people with with that diagnosis, or is it just kind of lean into it and go?
I think a lot of people feel that way. When I was diagnosed with ADHD almost 30 years ago, I
Yeah,
felt that way. I thought, I don't want to have something else because I had some health problems. I thought,
yeah,
I don't want to have something. I don't want a diagnosis. I don't want this to be who I am. And eventually I embraced it and I started writing about it and learning to live with it. And, I uh, published a newsletter about it for a couple of years that was really popular. And, but it
nice.
took me a while with the ADHD to really embrace it. But then for me, when I got my autism diagnosis, I was like, woo, this is great. This is the thing. That's all clear to me. And some people are like me and they're really excited that it finally makes sense. And other people, they get the autism diagnosis and they think, oh, there is something wrong with me. But the people I know who are neurodivergent, who are learning to embrace it, they just thrive. You
Yeah.
know, once you know who you are and you are allowing yourself to be who you are, there's
Yeah.
nothing like that.
Man, it's true. Even with something temporary. So even with something temporary, brain surgery, I've had 4 brain surgeries between 2014 and 2021 to treat, hydrocephalus, right? So to replace that shunt. And in 2021, the side effect that came out of that surgery, because all of them had all 4 of them in that time had side effects. The side effect for the one in 2021 was large motor tics that kind of just rocked my whole right side of my body. My whole right side of my body would just shake like this all the time. It was crazy. It was so exhausting. And I'd do everything I could to tamper them down or keep them at bay or not let them be seen or hide and figure out how to hide them. And I had a dear friend at the time say, "What the heck are you doing? What is wrong with you? Let them go, man. It'll just roll with it. It's your superpower. Roll with it, man." And so I did. I didn't care after that. I was like, okay, this is me. Here it is. Take it or leave it, And it was so much less exhausting, mentally and physically, to just say, who cares? It doesn't matter, And so that, yeah, it's right. It's
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It's just so freeing. And, the people who care don't really matter. The people who care that you have a tick, or the people who care
yeah,
that you're a little different, and the people
condition or
that
whatever. Yeah.
bothers,
Yep.
that they don't matter in the long run. I mean, you may have a boss that you have to deal with for
Yeah.
now, but there's always another job. There's always the possibility of starting a business. This is everything in life is basically temporary, except for the really good things that, of course, we want to last.
Right. Yeah, exactly. It's so cool. I love that. And it's 100% true. Well, and one other thing that I've embraced over the years is, especially over the last 10 or 12 with all this frequency of surgery is somebody told me one time, it's like, look, man, life doesn't have to be perfect to be amazing. So just lean into it
Oh,
and go, it's one other way I've heard it said is launch and adjust, or the other one is 76% ship it. If you wait for something to be perfect, like your books, right? If you wait for something to be perfect to present it to the world, they're never going to see it. It'll never get there because there's no such thing as perfect. So, I mean, did you struggle with that with your book? Like, is that why it took 20 years, or was it just so much information that you wanted to get in there?
really, I wrote the first edition in 2006, and it was good. And then in about 2008 or 9, somebody I was working with said, "Have you thought about writing a second edition?" And I said, "Oh, I don't know. Yeah, I think I said what I have to say." And she said, "Well, why don't you sit down and think about it? Because I would like to publish it if
Oh,
you write a
cool.
second edition." And I said, "Oh, well, okay." And I realized I had a lot more to say. And then after losing a dear friend in 2011, I decided that I really still had more to say. She had been a really big proponent of Leonardo Trait, and she always hoped that I would keep going with it. And I said, "I really do think I have more to say. I think I really want to expound on this being more of who you are and being open to understanding who you are." And then, of course, after the autism diagnosis, I just really rewrote the whole thing.
Yeah.
I tore it down and started over, still with the same concepts, but I had a lot of different things to say at that point. But as far as the 76% ship it and that kind of thing, I've heard a couple that I really like. One
Yeah.
I heard recently is that this guy that I follow, someone and told him he aims for B minus, and he said, "Oh, I think I aim for A," and she said, "No, but you're ready to ship at B minus. B minus is good enough, and you're ready to go. You don't keep trying to perfect it." And another
Right.
one I heard, there was a book years ago called Ready, Fire, Aim.
Yes, I love that. Yep. Yep. Totally. I love that concept. Yeah. It's true because ready, first of all, you'll never be totally ready.
Right.
So yeah. Or what's the other one? Shoot for the stars and you might land on the moon, right? Like but you'll be
Exactly.
so much further on that if you had sat there and said, "Oh, I'm planning on it. Just do it. Just go," So
Oh yeah.
yeah, that's
And
awesome.
that's one great thing about being ADHD is that I have an idea, and by the next morning I'm already working on it. And I
Nice.
may get 3 or 4 days into it and go, "Oh, I really don't want to do this." But I start thinking about, how would I do this? How would I make this work? What would this look like? And making notes and writing plans and how
Yeah,
would I do this if I were going to do it?
very cool. That's awesome. See, that's a superpower, man. There's people that suffer from that. What's that other? Why do it today when you could put it off till tomorrow? Procrastination, right? The
Yeah,
the
yeah.
biggest nation on the planet, procrastination. Everybody wants to wait till it's perfect, and it's like their excuse to procrastinate, right? So I love that. Yeah, get out there and just do it. It's perfect. Yeah, I'm guessing that served you well.
It has. It has. I'm running a summit on January 27th that it's email based only. There aren't any video presentations, and nobody has to
Nice.
show up at a specific time, including me, which I like.
Nice.
And I first
Smart.
had the idea and I thought, email summits aren't a thing. Nobody's ever done an email summit. I'm going to bed. And I woke up the next morning and I thought, but I could do an email summit and I think it would be really big. I've got 24 speakers for my summit.
What? Come on.
They're all really excited about the fact that it's email only. They don't have to do a presentation. They don't have to be on camera. I had somebody write me today and she said, "I just want to confirm I don't have to be anywhere at a specific time, right? Because I need to arrange my schedule." And I said, "You do not have to be anywhere at a specific time, and neither do I. And that's why this is going to be great."
That's amazing. You know what? I gotta remind me when we come back from the break that we're gonna go to a break right now. But I gotta let's talk about that more on the other side because I've never heard of this. So I want to know more about what this even looks like. Like I've never been to an email event like that. So let's go to we're gonna go to a break. I'm gonna take this down and we're gonna go to a commercial. But as soon as we come back, I want to hear more about that because that's really cool. And I'm sure that you've got information about it on your website, and we'll make sure we can point people directly to it so they can come. So everybody stick around and we'll be back shortly.
Hey everybody, Craig Tomanini here, founder and CEO of Ask Craig T, and I wanted to do a quick reminder about our podcast every Friday, 9 o'clock Mountain Standard Time. You can find us on YouTube and on all of our social media platforms, so be sure you tune in. Don't miss all the valuable information we're going to give you about how to scale your business using technology.
Hi, I'm Jake, co-founder and CEO of One Hope. My friends and I started this company in 2007 out of the back of this truck, on a mission to enrich people's lives through wine. Today, we've grown into a state-of-the-art Napa Valley winery that proudly houses a portfolio of award-winning wines which have touched lives through over 40,000 nonprofits at home and around the globe. And it's happening every day. Being rooted in local communities and contributing to initiatives that uplift neighborhoods, celebrate cultures, and promote community. It's what got us here. You see, through every bottle sold, your purchase can make a direct impact on the causes you care about. One Hope's Cause of Choice has given back over $10 million and counting.
Are you being priced out of healthcare? Tired of the prices skyrocketing and having to go to doctors dictated by a network? We feel your pain and have the solution, a nonprofit approach that is ethical and affordable. Take a moment to learn about a way that works better and feels better than health insurance.
Hey there. You know, every time someone comes into your business or website and uses their card to pay, a percentage of that gets folded back into the system. But it can go to Hydro with Hope instead. If you'd like your business to support us rather than feed back into the system, scan the QR code and we'll show you how to do that while saving your business money.
Hey, how you doing? My name is Greg Russell. I'm the host of TechnologyTuesday.com. You can find us on the Conscious Business TV network every Tuesday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the latest resources to help you make more money in your business. Join us on E360 TV. Come on.
All right, welcome back, everybody. And I gotta admit, I'm trying to remember what we were talking about that I asked you to remind me that we were going to talk more about. Oh, the summit.
Email summit.
The
Yeah.
summit. That's right. The summit. That's right. I remember. Okay. So I have never heard of an email summit. I've heard of summits. I've heard of in-person summits. I've heard of online summits. I've gone to many of both of those. What the heck is an email summit, and why, like, what is that about?
Well, you've never heard of it because I came up with it about a month ago.
Oh, well, there you go.
I am disabled. I live with a chronic back condition, and I really wanted to do, excuse me, I really wanted to do a virtual summit, which is, you know, people show up, they do videos or they do live presentations, and it runs for however many days with several presentations a day.
Yeah.
I can't do that. That is not in my ability to do. And I mentioned to my husband that I had been thinking about doing that, and I was about to say, and I know I can't. And he said, yeah, you can't do that.
Yeah.
I said, I know I can't, but I'm a little sad that I can't do it. And he said, well, you know, you've got your book and you've got your community and you've got a lot of things going on. You'll be fine. I said, yeah, it's just, you know, sometimes I get sad about things I can't do. And then a few days later, I was drifting off to sleep and I thought, what if I do an email summit? Because my brain comes up with wild things sometimes. And I
Right.
said to my brain, we're going to sleep. No one has ever done an email summit. It's not a thing. I'm going to bed. And then I woke up the next morning and I thought, but what if I did do an email summit? How would that work? So I sat down and I talked to my good neurodivergent friend who had run a regular summit recently. And I said, I had this idea and I wanted to know if you think it's an entirely insane idea. And if it's not an entirely insane idea, would you be willing to be one of my speakers? And I said, I want it to be email only. I want people to submit a written piece, and I will send out by email these written pieces and a reflection prompt on each piece. I'll send 4 a day or 6 a day. And
Okay.
there'll be a schedule so people know what time the email's coming. And I said, would you be interested in doing this? And she said, I think that's an amazing idea. And I asked a couple other people that I knew if they would be interested. And they were interested. And I thought, I could actually do this. And I've been planning it out. I put out a call for entries on a journalism site. And I got probably 30 people who said they were interested. And of the 30-ish people who said they were interested, 24 of them actually filled out an application and are going to be speakers. And so at
Nice.
the end of it, it runs January 27th through 30th. On the 30th, we're going to have a wrap party on Zoom. One Zoom call. Everybody comes. People can ask questions of the speakers. They can talk to the speakers and say hello. And so there's one Zoom call. I can do one Zoom call.
Yeah.
And and I'm hoping that this will actually take off and that more people will do email summits because they're so much more accessible to people, not only people who maybe can't sit and watch all the presentations, but
Yeah.
also people don't really have the time to watch an entire day or several days of
Yeah.
presentations. And this
Sometimes.
just seems so much more accessible to me, and I'm hoping it's going to be a big success.
That's amazing. Yes, I have, you know what? I have been invited to many summits to attend or whatever, and I look at and first of all, the marketing model of a lot of these summits and a lot of these, 3-day events or whatever it is that they don't give you a lot of warning time, right? It's like, well, it's this Friday or it's this Tuesday or it's like, wait a minute. My calendar's full, man. I got to plan further out than that. So that's my biggest thing. Like I have missed out on so many cool events because they said, well, it's next week. And I'm like, well, my schedule is literally, I have like 9 Zoom calls like every day that week. Like why I can't make it. And so this is a really cool alternative because it's on your own time, right? You get the email and then you can look at it when you're able. And it's not like you're missing anything if you don't, look at it by a certain time or anything. So it's really
right,
cool.
exactly.
Yeah, I love that. That is so cool. Well, so we're almost out of time here. We got about 6 or 7 minutes left. So I want to kind of dive into a little bit different direction here. As somebody, so for someone if I had somebody on the show with me sitting next to me that said, Angie, I'm in like I'm in my 50s and I think there might be something going on. There might be some, maybe it's ADHD, maybe there's a traumatic brain injury that's starting to affect them more. Maybe it's, schizophrenia or bipolar or something. Like, what would you tell them to ease their mind, to like make them feel like life's not over?
In the first place, in my experience, people who think that there's something going on are always right. I mean, no one knows your brain the way you do. And
Right.
so I would say you're right. If you think there's something going on with your brain, there definitely is. And then I would say, and that's great. It's great that you know it. It's great that you know what it is. And that means that you can work with it. If it's something like autism where you're not as straight line as neurotypical people and you have a lot of projects and you have a lot of things going on. Now you know that there's a reason for that and you know that's just how your brain works. And I always like to know what's going on. I also like it to be something in my control because if it's something in my control, I can do whatever I need to make it work for me. If it's something outside of my control, then it's outside of my control and it's happening to me. But if it's in my control, that it's not happening to me, I can work with it.
Nice. Love that. Oh yeah. That's good stuff. I hope you were all listening because that was good stuff. So so we have about 2 or 3 minutes left. Is there what would you like to like maybe encourage our audience with, or if anybody out there that might be struggling, that's in this boat, that's like, oh, I just got diagnosed with this thing, but I don't know what to do with it now. What would you tell them in the last couple minutes?
My big thing is we are not broken neurotypicals. We are not broken anything. We are exactly who we were meant to be. this is our brain, and there's nothing wrong with us. And there's so much right. And I just, to kind of belabor this point, it's not just that you're enough, you are more than enough. You are perfect exactly the way you are.
Oh my God, that's perfect. Thank you for saying that. That is so cool. Man, there's so many people that I know that I have met over the years, and honestly myself over the years when I was younger, that I didn't understand the condition I had. I didn't understand what to do with it sometimes. And like, I had encouraging, my family was amazing, and I had very encouraging friends and stuff. But there's sometimes in the middle of the night when you're sitting there by yourself in the dark and you're like, "Ugh, what do I, and so that was perfectly said. Thank you so much. That was awesome. Well, I'll tell you what, man, we are about out of time. I'm gonna leave this QR code up here for just a little bit longer. What by the way, what are people going to find at that website? I know your book is there probably. What else can they find? Place to contact you maybe?
My book is there, a way to contact me, information about my summit, and a newsletter that I'm a little behind on, but I'm planning on getting back into that in the new year. Planning a summit, putting a book out is a lot, but the newsletter will be coming back out probably this week.
Oh, beautiful. So yeah, everybody go to the website, check it out. The book looks awesome. The summit sounds amazing. I've never heard of that before. I hope it goes really, really, really well so that you can do another one and another one and another one, because it sounds like a cool concept. So Angie,
Thank you. I'm excited about it.
I'm excited to hear how it goes, man. I think it's gonna be awesome. So thank you, but thank you so much, Angie, for being here and for being so open with your story and for telling us so much amazing information and stuff. And just, I'm so thankful that we got to do this. I appreciate you so much.
Oh, thank you for having me. It's been great.
Absolutely. All right, man, here we go. I'm going to leave that QR code up for just a minute. Actually, you know what? No, I'm going to take it down because I'm going to put this one up because I want to give you guys every opportunity to check out Hydro with Hope. And if you feel like you're supposed to, then donate. We appreciate it. It's awesome. The platform we use for donations is really cool. It's anybody else out there that has a nonprofit, maybe check out the link anyway, because it's really cool. Thank you in advance for that. And if you if you've been watching for a long time, thank you so much for being here. And if this is your first time, welcome. I'm so glad you're here. Maybe this is your new favorite episode, right? Like, hey, Angie was amazing. I got to show this to somebody else I know that could benefit. Share the link, share the YouTube channel, subscribe to the YouTube channel so that the next episode will notify you next time we're going to air another episode, right? Every Tuesday, every Friday at 9 Pacific, noon Eastern. So you can get those reminders. So yeah. So everybody knows what to do, man. Like, follow, subscribe, share, all the things. And join us for our next show on Tuesday, January 6th. Again, Happy New Year. I hope you had an incredible Christmas with family and friends and everybody you love, and a fun, safe New Year's Eve, and that you are here to watch the episode. So thank you for everything. Thank you for watching. And we will see you on the next show. Have a great day.